Welcome to Gehenna Gaming, where we tell dark stories and support inclusivity in gaming. I am Kyron, your storyteller for the evening, and welcome to our 8th episode of Bleeding Kansas, our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle based on the Storyteller's Vault Chronicle of the same name, which you can, of course, find a link to in the chat. This is a horror game intended for an adult audience that will explore many dark and disturbing themes. So if you feel overwhelmed or seriously uncomfortable, be sure to take a break and come back when you feel up to it. Before we start, I'd, as always, like to thank our sponsors, Die Hard Dice, 1985 Games, and Session Zero Clothing. You can use the code Gehenna at checkout at any of these amazing TTRPG companies to get 10% off your purchase. And as this is our finale of our first season, I'd also like to thank all of you for joining us on this journey. When I published this chronicle last year, I never could have predicted that I would be able to share it with first such an amazing cast that I have enjoyed working with so much, and the amazing Gehenna Gaming community. And we do hope that you have enjoyed our first season of Bleeding Kansas. And with that said, let's meet our vampires for the evening.
Hi guys, I'm Vin at VinVox8, and I'll be playing Gideon, your favorite Thin Blood.
Hi everyone, my name is Justice. I am Stashmandu on all the socials, and I am playing the enigmatic Luther Vergoni, Clan of Kings, if you couldn't tell.
You're muted.
Hello, I'm Lynn, Gremlin Art, and I am playing M, the Bruja of the group.
Hello, darlings. My name is C. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me making very transvigary art on the internet at PieSharpArt. Tonight, I am playing Somber, who also uses they, them pronouns. Your favorite amnesiatic Daddy Diablerist caitiff.
And with all that said, for one more time for now, let's tell a vampire story. In the world of darkness, every night you rise and take to the streets is a gamble. The winnings can be enormous, but if you lose, you don't get the chance to try your luck again. Some kindred choose to play it safe, letting their vast plans play out over centuries, and only rising from their death-like sleep once a decade to nudge things in the right direction. But for those long-sighted licks, there is always the risk that some upstarts will come along, willing to bet everything on one single roll of the cosmic dice. Such kindred can upend everything if their bet pays off. I think it's safe to say that our coterie are such kindred, and tonight we will see if their desperate plans that they've been gambling with since that fateful night in Lawrence will pay off. When we last met our coterie, they made perhaps their greatest gamble ever, as they faced the deadly and charismatic leaders of the Kansas City Sabbat, who have brought the entire western half of the city into their dark cult. While they were offered membership, they declined it in very violent terms. Perhaps they finally overplayed their hand, as their stalwart, thin-blood coterie mate was captured. Not only that, but with dawn fast approaching, they were forced to day sleep in the fortress of their enemies. While they have the Sabbat leader Gil and his werewolf bodyguard Key in custody, they have no guarantee of a warm welcome when they get home, if they can even reach the river. So, we begin tonight with Gideon. You awake from your day sleep, not of your own volition, but because someone forces you awake. There's no hand on your shoulder, there's no water splashed on your face, and yet you unconsciously feel the need to open your eyes. And when you do, you find that you are hanging by your arms, which are above your head, from a ceiling that you can't see by a long rusty chain. You can smell dirt, earthworms boring through the flesh of the earth and cutting new tunnels with every twitch, and long dead roots rotting away beneath the ground. And as you look down at your own body, you see you've been stripped of almost all clothing, except a few rags to preserve what little modesty you can claim to in the realm of your enemies. There's only one visible light emanating from a small lantern, which illuminates the face of Jessica, sitting in a throne-like chair, lower down, looking up at you, like a chandelier dangling from a ceiling that she's contemplating purchasing. And she says in that sweet voice that has entranced Somber for so many nights, "Gideon, good morning. When was the last time you had a morning, my dear child?"
That is a very interesting question.
She says, "I'm ready for the answer."
It's been years.
Well, allow me to be the first to reintroduce you to your old friend, the sun. And she snaps a finger and you hear metal grinding on metal. And what you assumed was endless blackness in every direction turns out to be some sort of metal cage that you're suspended in, which rises up above the underground fortress that Jessica addresses you from. And as the metal slides away, you see that this cage has holes strategically placed all around the sheet metal that it's made out of, each one a different odd shape, and each one allowing rays of sunlight to come in and strike your exposed flesh, burning odd runic shapes into your skin. The pain is unbearable. It doesn't feel like you're being burned by an outside force, but as if the blood inside you is bursting through your flesh and boiling on top of it. Take a point of aggravated damage
Absolutely.
as you acquire some new scars. After being exposed to this for a few seconds, Jessica snaps her fingers again, and the cage is closed. Did you enjoy your day at the beach?
Absolutely.
Charming. You have such a determined nature, but you'll find that pain is only the first thing I can use to break you down.
And they are completely silent.
She beckons with her fingers, and there's the sound of a chain going through a mechanism as you are lowered down slowly into this underground chamber that she is residing in. And she says, "You know, it's a great honor, Gideon, It's very rare that a single Sabbat walks in the daylight. Even rarer that an entire pack ventures out. Still more rare that several do, to come and witness the induction of a new member into our family. And you can hear, though you can't see, dozens of other figures moving around in the dirt and rock, knocking aside pebbles which tumble down. When you're not able to see them, everything feels like a boulder crashing into the ground in your ears as you strain to try and construct some kind of picture of this dark pit that you must be in. She leans forward. She says, "You will find that it is not possible to say no to your family." And coming into the small circle of light that you find yourself in, you see several other members of what must be the Sabbat. And much like you, they're marked with the scarring of the sun in various different places on their bodies. And she says, "These are those that walk in the sun willingly, the thin bloods who serve the Sabbat through their unique gift. And they will be your siblings before long." One of them comes forward wordlessly. Half of his face is completely burned away so that bone is showing through it. But he smiles as he offers up a large clay bowl inscribed with various runes and filled with blood. And he says, "Sibling, drink and be made whole." And he offers it up to you.
I think, well, I don't think, I know what they do. Gideon bends to dip their head to drink and then just headbutts the bowl down.
Ooh, okay. No roll required, obviously. You headbutt the bowl and it spills out onto his chest. And he looks down as it dribbles away with a look of an art critic watching someone burn an original masterwork in front of them. Jessica goes, "You know how long it takes to fill that bowl up. Fortunately, I've got a backup." She pulls out a vial of blood and uncorks it. And she looks deep into your eyes and she says, "Drink." And I am going to need you to make a roll to resist her
Hey,
order.
storyteller, I have
Yeah.
unswayable mind.
Very good. Why don't you tell the whole class what Unswayable Mind will help with?
Boy, I should have had the book ready. I was just staring at my sheet. Let's go. Boy, I love Vampire the Masquerade.
Me too.
All right, we are in looking for fortitude, blood sorcery, protein. Okay, I'm getting there. Alrighty.
Good.
The user gains a mystical ability to resist any attempts to sway them through mundane charms, coercion, and wiles. The user adds their fortitude dots in any roll made to resist, essentially. So it's like
Excellent.
2 extra
All right.
die.
So this is intelligence plus resolve versus her charisma plus dominate. You may add your fortitude dice to your roll to resist.
Intelligence is so that's 2. Let's go, baby. That is 1, 2, 3 successes.
3 successes. All right. That is enough. she did not roll extremely well, and your unswayable mind may have given you the edge you needed. She only rolled 2 successes, though she rolled quite a few dice, I'm sure I don't need to tell you. So, you stare right back into her eyes, and as she uncorks the bottle and puts it up to your lips, your mouth remains sewn closed as she tries to pour it down. This is the first time you've
And
seen
they
her
spit
resolve.
it right out. Oh boy.
None of it even passes your lips. She whirls around and grabs the chair she was sitting in, this throne-like chair, and smashes it into the ground. Whirls around with a wooden shard from it, and it's inches from your chest before she regains her composure. Drops it down. Very well. She leaves the circle of darkness, leaving you to hang there with your would-be siblings staring hateful daggers at you, before she returns with a large glass bottle. It seems to have a dark, ethereal substance moving around inside of it. And she says, "What I have marked you with, using the rays of the sun, are runes. Runes that make you a beacon to certain creatures which lie beyond the veils." She raises up the bottle. "To this particular one, it will make you absolutely irresistible. And when I release it, it will drag you into a world that you will not recognize and that will never allow you to leave. I have attempted the carrot. Now you have compelled me to make use of the stick. So, if you will not join our ranks, fine. You will not know the true purpose of Cain, but you will answer my questions and you will answer them honestly, or your new boyfriend will be released."
Ask away.
She leans forward. "I know what means what in the Camarilla. And trust me, I will know if you lie to me. I've been testing people's honesty for centuries. Who is your sire?"
Our beloved prince.
Excellent. 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 Good to know. Now, it strikes me, Greer, that if you were a child of the prince, you should be at his side, not halfway out of his domain, far from his help. Why are you running around with a mercenary like Dragoni instead of directing Kansas City politics as would befit your blood?
Because he's ashamed of me. I am his weakness. The weakness of his blood.
Interesting. Shame can be a great motivator. I take it you were not aware of this weakness when the blood was offered to you.
Of course not.
Well, please share with all of us. We're in a circle after all, although you can't see it. It's a safe space. How did that make you feel, Gideon?
Really? Story time. With
Says, "We all came out here during the day to receive your knowledge. The least you can do is give us something a little entertaining."
There's nothing entertaining about shame. Unless that's something you're into, and I'm not supposed. But alas,
So-
here we are.
Certainly haven't taken your not supposed to existness lying down, have you? You've been a busy little bee.
No matter what they tell me, no matter my blood, I am still part of the clan of kings.
And this clan still has your loyalty after all it's put you through.
It does. Because
We
I'm
are-
beyond them.
We offer you the bonds of true companionship and the love of Cain, and you turn your nose up at it. But the Ventru offer you to be a shame-filled doormat, and you're more than happy to go along with it.
I didn't say I was happy. All I am is determined. I'll have a story by the end, and my throne, and my crown.
We shall see. We shall see. So, Prince is ashamed of you. He'd be more than happy if you disappeared off the face of the earth. Not a great deal of leverage there, but you've found a new family. I can tell by the way that you have watched out for each other since you arrived that there's something there. Tell me, how did Vagoni and the rest of them win your loyalty, however tenuous it might be?
They didn't win anything. I had a duty to keep them alive. Is that surprising, given my nature, my blood? They have my respect. It was hard earned, but they have it.
Respect. There's something we can build on. Which of your coterie mates do you believe shares this respect that you say they've earned?
This is getting tiresome. It's tell-all, but... And they give like this kind of grim smile, just like this thin reminiscing despite the bullshit that's happening right now. I appreciate them all. And if they were here, they would probably tear you all limb to limb.
Yes, indeed. But they're not here. They're not here. And I am. And over 30 of my fellow Sabbat are also here. And the only reason that we have allowed your unlife to continue is because we believe you can be useful to us. And that is what I am determining. That is why you are going through this tiresome process. I need to know who is going to care if you don't come back.
Luckily, we won't have to worry about the answer because they are coming back.
She says, she'll see. We shall see indeed. Very well. You believe the entire coterie has your interests at heart. You believe they share respect for you. I believe that you will be of use. I do. And I can tell you aren't lying. You're going to go back to sleep, Gideon. But those scars aren't going anywhere. And I have your new paramour right here, she says, tossing the bottle up and down, up and down. And I would urge you to remember that if you do not prove useful, I will release it. And there is a nowhere in this world that you will be able to hide from it. She stands up, raises up the stake, drives it back into your heart, and pulls a bag over your head. We leave Gideon there for now. When we turn to Somber and Luther and M. As you wake up from the day sleep, you find that the snipers that Luther had come last night are still on guard, ensuring that your bodies are not disturbed. Your daughter is still huddled in a corner, doing her best to come down from a unique cocktail of drugs. Luther. Key and Gil are still staked, staring up at the sky, unable to move. I'm sorry. Gil is staked. Key is merely restrained, unable to break the chains that you've put around him, even with his unnatural werewolf strength. As you come to, what is the first thing on all of your minds?
Oh, it is nice to actually get up today. Luther, thanks for the cover.
Right. Where is Gideon?
That is the problem of the hour, isn't it? And Somber has kind of immediately jumped up and has started stalking back and forth. And it becomes very clear just in their body language that they do, in fact, know what it means to be an animal and what it means to be a killer just by the way that they're walking. Like, they remember in their kindred body, still not transformed, what it means to be a panther. And they are stalking closer to Gil and to Key, and then they kind of like turn their heel, and their whole head comes around to look back at Luther. That is the problem, isn't it? They haven't come back. Lost them in the fight, and I haven't seen where they've gone.
But somebody does, right?
That puppy dog nose of yours should be good for something, shouldn't it? You could sniff them out, or maybe we should just ask Gil. What would you prefer, Key? Oh, don't want to play nice?
I do nothing without the Master's explicit commands.
Huh.
But what if the Master weren't around any longer? Would you fail in your duty to protect him?
He says, the day that the Master is gone is the day that my purpose ends, and so shall I.
Well, you don't want to end prematurely, do you? As you can see, he is quite helpless right now. I mean, I feel like C needs some practice popping the heads off of annoying insects.
Or
And Somber kind of sits down next to Gil's body and just kind of like traces the circle of the stake in his heart, just kind of playing with it.
Yeah.
And what were you about to say?
Say, you know what, asshole? We're not cams. We're not necessarily anarchs, and we don't have that thing where we will not let people, if have a little taste of your little soul right there if you don't do what we want.
All right, go ahead and give me an intimidation plus charisma check, M. I'll give you a bonus die since Luther and Somber have made very clear what the price of non-compliance is.
What was that again? Which two?
Charisma plus intimidation.
Ah, okay. All right. That is 3 successes.
3 successes. Let me just see for Gil. He With a grunt, says, "What is it that you want to know, Brewer?"
Where is Gideon?
It's of no use to you if I give you that information. You'll be walking
I
into
didn't
a
say
den
what,
of my
what your opinion on it. I asked, where is Gideon?
He looks down at Gil's completely frozen, paralyzed body, and then looks over at you. Sabbat lairs beneath the ground to ensure their sleep is not disturbed. There's an entrance to the tunnels 500 feet west of this location. It would be the most logical place for Jessica to flee to if she wanted to make an escape.
Good boy.
You see the front of his face starts elongating for a second before it pulls back.
Oh, that's cute.
What a temper. Thank you so much for that wonderful insight into your realm. Somber, have you ever tasted werewolf?
I can't say that I have before. Why? Is it fun?
Oh, it's quite delightful. It's like riding a lightning bolt.
You know I am rather picky, but I do like a little bit of shock every now and again.
Might give you just a little bit of juice. Kind of like, what's that drink the humans like that gives them wings?
Pepsi.
Right, that sounds right. Werewolves, they give you wings.
Like an angel. And without any further prompting, Somber takes the back of his scruff and just sinks their fangs into it.
All right. It's very much like Luther described it to you. It's like riding a lightning bolt, but it's also like trying to catch one, too. As the blood starts flowing down your throat and spurting out onto your chest and onto your shirt, it feels as though you're trying to grasp the ethereal power of a lightning bolt and trying not to just get burned by its surrounding energy. It's the first time you've ever fed off of something where it really felt like the blood itself was trying to fight back. However, he's helpless. He's not able to fight, and his blood doesn't have the strength to overcome yours. You continue to drain him. How far do you intend to go?
Just enough to get a little kick for me. We still need to deliver him to the prince on the other side of the river, so not too far.
All right. You satisfy 1 dot of hunger. You can remove that if you have any. Actually, that reminds me, I need you all to make rouse checks. I should have said when you woke up this evening. Anybody
I
get
got
hungry?
hungrier, but I got better.
No, I mean, breakfast is here. Or here.
All right. Did you get hungrier?
No.
Okay. And Luther?
I did get hungrier.
You thought you had gotten rid of the beast, but every night it has another chance, and once again you hear it mocking you from inside your head, telling you to just let it take control, that you're in over your head, and that when push comes to shove, you're going to find that you're not extraordinary after all, but just another failed venture experiment, unless you let it direct you. In Somber, you hear the voice of your old friend piping up, saying, "Don't forget about our bargain, dear. If you want to know the identity of your long-lost love, I need a new body, and I need it soon."
And do you want that one? I'm getting you something much prettier than that.
I'm not overly picky. I just like to be able to get out of this dump. Do you have any idea what a shitstorm your mind is?
Stay in the shitstorm longer, and you can become part of it, darling.
That's precisely what we're trying to avoid. Do better. Now, as you consuming the werewolf blood is not a cost-free experience. You're on edge, you're more aggressive, you're energized. You feel like that lightning is crackling through your veins, and you are going to have to take into account, as you're role-playing, that Somber is twice as impulsive, twice as aggressive, twice as determined.
Welp. Considering that, they kind of just drop key when they're done with him, and there's just blood all the way down their chest. And they also, I think they also howl. They're like, fuck it, all right, let's go. Come on, shall we?
Where is? Well, they are feeding. Where's Eden?
Where Eden? Eden is crouched in a corner, still kind of rocking back and forth. She's not gripping hold of everything like she's about to fall into the abyss like she was last night, but she is still very clearly trying to keep focused on one thing to reassure herself that it's real.
All right. I'm gonna walk up to her. It's like, Eden, you holding up okay?
She looks up and she says, I'm not completely sure if you're here or not, but if you are, I'd love to know why you're messing around with my asshole of a dad.
And she'll put her hand on her shoulder. It's like, well, we are here, and we have taken care of those that took you, so we have a business arrangement. How do you think we get all the money for all the stuff that we do?
She says, having a business arrangement with my dad is exactly what I've been trying to avoid for most of my life.
Oh, I can understand why. I can't imagine being his kid, honestly.
You don't want it. She glares over at Luther, over in the corner, dealing with his beast. She says, I didn't realize what I was taking. I didn't know what was going on, and the next thing I knew, I wasn't at the concert anymore, and I wound up here.
No, it's okay. It's not anything that you did. They are very, very manipulative. So, it happens, and I'm glad that you're safe here.
Is that guy dead? She says, looking over at Gil, who is still completely still with a stake in his chest.
In a way, yes. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, considering all the harm that he did, for the better, right? Won't hurt anybody again.
Just get me the hell out of here, please.
All right. You know what? I'll call Fio and have her pick you up, and we'll take you. You know what? You'll have the group take you home if you want. If you want people around, you can have that.
She says,
It's been a rough night. You need to take it easy, however you feel like you need to.
yeah, I'd appreciate not being alone.
Okay. And we'll send a text to Fio to pick the location to pick Eden up.
Okay, Theo is on her way. Luther, do you want to speak with your daughter at all before she's picked up?
I don't. I will look at her from across the room and watch as M escorts her out, but as soon as M comes back in, I would like to have a conversation with her.
All right. As she's walked out, your daughter gives you one quick look, and she says, "Stay the hell away from me," before she goes out the door to where Theo is waiting. And then M returns.
Ooh, you fucked that one up, certainly.
Why is she involved with you?
She got
Look at me,
involved.
Im.
Yeah, because she got involved. We didn't do anything. She came to us. We protected her. Guess what?
Does she
Nope.
know your nature, or have you hidden that from her?
Yes.
I suggest you keep it that way. She
Oh,
needs
so now
not.
you care. Huh?
Oh, I care. And she is not going to be a part of this lifestyle.
Why not? Why the hell not?
Im, if you cherish your time on this earth, you will keep her safe and out of the kindred circles.
You know what? M is going to get real close. Or else, what, Luther? You've lost your daughter. Accept it.
I will crumble the pillars of the foundation you stand on.
Oh, you mean the bar, everything. I have so much to lose, Luther.
And yet you still walk. You walk in circles you have no business being in. And if you wish to continue doing so and rising with this coterie...
You mean that court that we're in, Luther?
We are not in that court.
Newsflash, Luther. You'll be nothing than like a new blood to them for a long, long time. And that's all you'll be to them. Unless you have us. And that's where we are right now.
Keep telling yourself that. Keep telling yourself that you haven't already towed out of line multiple times and been saved by my silver tongue.
Oh, so you needed no help when that werewolf was on top of you and I ripped its arm. So, I mean, I appreciate the help, but I think we're even here.
The scales are balanced. I will not deny that, and I do appreciate you as being a member of this coterie, and I respect you and your skills, but all I am saying is stay away from my blood.
From where I stand, she can make her own decisions, Luther.
She's certainly capable of it, but I will not have you influencing her towards the side that I know you will.
Do you want to know what her blood tastes like, Luther?
Vera stands up and grabs her gun and she says, okay. Let's dial this back just a little here.
No, Vera, let them go at it. I was just starting to enjoy this.
You are not helping. The last thing we need is to start killing each other when we're already in enemy territory. That said, Chiron the storyteller is not nearly as picky about who dies and who doesn't. So I think that it's safe to say you're going to have to roll for provocation, Luther. So if you wouldn't mind giving me a willpower roll.
Certainly.
Sorry, Gideon, we're a little busy right now.
Sorry, your coterie's all dead. Sorry. We don't know what happened.
That is 3 successes.
It's okay, take your time.
3 successes. All right. Your beast wants to tear M to shreds and then burn the shreds and then smoke the shreds. But you are still the master of your own mind and consciousness. do not need to do so. You're welcome to heed Vera's call to calm down if you wish, or not.
He will turn on his heel and walk back towards the staked, torpid kindred.
I think, if I may, Somber had gone back over to Gil while all of that was happening, and they had started carving out a message with their nail on his chest that says, "For Isabel," and then up the stake with love, XOXO.
Interesting. All right. So you've got him. You have that carved into his chest. He's just staring at you. Key, who is starting to kind of come to, notices that you've carved this into his chest, and he says, "You know her?"
Oh, interesting. So do you.
He says, "The secrets of the Camarilla aren't any of my business. If you know Isabel, you should know she can't be trusted."
Well, that's obvious. No one in the Camarilla can be trusted.
She says, "If you deliver my master to her, she'll silence him."
It's very interesting, isn't it? I wasn't planning on delivering him just to Isabel. I was going to bring them to the whole court. You as well. What'd you say? Want to go to court? Puppy dog want to go to court?
We won't survive. They'll kill us before we can provide testimony.
I don't need testimony, darling. They just need to see you.
He looks down pitifully over at Gil, waiting for instructions that are not going to come.
Luther, I'm feeling rather impulsive. You're right, this is like riding a lightning bolt. And if you don't put me in front of something to kill and find Gideon soon, I'm going to go fucking bananas.
I need just a moment to compose myself. What is our course of action here? Do we go after Gideon? Or do we take this scum to the other side of the river and attempt to gain favor?
We go to get Gideon,
Gideon.
obviously.
Then I have a plan. We leave this creature here, chained, under guard as a backup plan. We take Gil as a potential bargaining chip if his mother cares enough. I would swap the life of him for Gideon.
So thoughtful. Fine, let's do it. Come on.
All right. You're going to make your way to the tunnels that you were promised.
One moment. Before we get there, I have a new tool I'd like to try out. Mesmerize has a secondary skill that one could pick up called Submerge Directive. I would like to attempt to pull the stake out while he is coming to, give him a complex string of instructions with a Submerge Directive, and then put the stake back in.
Interesting. All right. So, let's take a look at Submerge Directive here. Here we are. When using Mesmerize, you can implant a post-hypnotic suggestion, allowing the command to remain dormant until a specific stimulus occurs. The trigger can be anything from a specific date to a person to hearing a specific phrase. It never expires. People can conceivably walk around with an order buried in their mind for years. The user can only embed one suggestion per victim. So, what we're really rolling here is Mesmerize.
Correct, which will
So-
be manipulation plus dominate versus intelligence plus resolve.
Yes, and Gil will do his best to resist. Three is the number to beat.
That is 3 as well.
Well, tie goes to the active kindred, so your mesmerism is successful. As he comes to, he freezes and your eyes lock with his. And you can implant your submerge directive before you return the stake to his heart.
Gil, we are about to venture into your mother's realm. Once we arrive there, you will do everything in your power to influence them to release Gideon to us in exchange for you. Your submerge directive is, as soon as you are within 3 feet of your mother, you will attack her without remorse and without holding back. No mercy. And then I'll shove the stake back in his heart.
He has just enough time to give a drunken nod before you shove it back into him. All right.
Luther, you better be saving that killing blow for me.
Right now, our efforts should be focused on Gideon.
All right. So, as you turn and make your way outside, you get perhaps 250 feet, halfway, when you encounter another procession making their way in the opposite direction. You recognize Jessica. You don't recognize the dozen other Sabbat that are following her, leaping between the trees and quick to surround the area. And you think you just might recognize the mostly naked figure with the bag over their head and the stake in their chest. Jessica raises an eyebrow, and she says, I did not think the Camarilla mounted rescue missions. I thought I was going to have to catch you at the bridge.
Do we really look like Camarilla to you, darling?
You are a disappointment to me, Somber. I'm not going to lie to you. She says, I assume, since you've brought my child with you, that we have the same thought on our minds in exchange.
We would be amenable to it, provided you have not hurt Gideon.
Well, that's a bit of a high bar, don't you think? I can see you've already carved something into my child's flesh.
Oh, that's nothing. That's just Somber playing around.
You know how I get when I'm bored.
Let me show you what I do when I'm bored. And she rips off the bag, showing Gideon's frozen face, and tosses their staked body onto the ground. And you can see that they are crisscrossed with dozens of scars in various different runic shapes.
What have you done to him?
She says, I've given myself an insurance policy. Gideon can explain to you what those scars will do. But I would urge you to deal with me truthfully, or I will be forced to make use of that little insurance policy. You don't want to find out what happens when you cross me.
Why don't you goddamn tell us before we do something to your son here?
She says, I'll tell you this much. I'm perfectly comfortable doing this. And she reaches down and rips out the stake from Gideon's chest. Go on home. And she kicks Gideon's leg. Because Gideon is just as much my prisoner in your custody as they are in mine. Gideon, you can move again.
Boy, howdy. They're gonna just amble over with what little strength and for hunger they have.
Somber, I think, comes forward to receive Gideon, right? They were real jittery during this whole thing, like barely restrained. And they cross the space and kind of like tuck Gideon into their shoulder, even though I think Gideon is taller than they are, and pull them back a little bit. Very clever, Jess. Hate that it had to end this way, though.
She says, I've had my fair share of hostage negotiations in my mind in my time, and I found that people are always just that much more desperate to make the deal to save the hostage when the hostage is back in their arms. So,
And what's the deal?
she says, simple enough. I want my child back. And I want you to lie. I want you to go back to the kindred of the Camarilla. And I want you to tell them that the sheriff's beliefs are completely justified, that it's just a bunch of rogue anarchs who aren't loyal enough to their cause.
Such bullshit. You're buying into it.
She says, I am not like my child. She looks at Gil. His strategy was openness. I indulged it because he is the future of the Sabbat, but our most recent confrontation has demonstrated that openness is not the winning strategy. I will allow you to leave the Sabbat domain, in itself an incredible privilege to extend you consider I far outnumber you. I return Gideon to you and I will not make use of my insurance policy. But you will return and tell the Camarilla that the ones responsible for this uprising, the slaughter, everything, are simply a bunch of kindred embraced outside of the third tradition who don't know what's good for them. And you will preserve the fiction that there are no Sabbat here.
Somber rounds on Luther, I think. Like, they just turn their whole back to Jessica. And they look at Luther. And there is, for the first time, something like a plead in their eyes. As they're, like, holding Gideon. An example of the two people being held responsible for the Sabbat's dealings. And they just kind of look at him.
Very well. We will release your child, and we will tell the appropriate truths to the powers that be. And with that phrasing, he's going to look at Somber.
She says, give him to me then. And Gideon, she raises up the glass bottle. Do not forget. She stashes it back underneath the cloak that she's wearing.
I'm going to call a car. When the car arrives and we get in, we will leave your offspring here on the ground as we leave.
Well, Luther, if I didn't know any better, I'd think you didn't trust me.
What was your first hint?
Vera raises up her rifle and she says, just kind of whispering to you, you can't seriously be thinking about covering all of this up. The sheriff needs to know.
The sheriff needs to know the truth that we will spin for him. And if you are wise, you will ride the wave appropriately.
We're not done talking about this. You call the car. It's a tense few minutes. Gideon, are you doing anything now that you've been returned to your friends, or are you just remaining in Somber's arms?
They're in Somber's arms, just quiet and tired.
All right. The car arrives. Your snipers are already in it.
Snipers
And
already
they-
in it.
Yes.
What about the werewolf?
I was just about to say they have him in the back.
Okay.
But they do their best not to let anybody see that they've got him.
Farewell, Jessica. I'm sure we will meet again.
You can believe we will. And she makes her way over and gathers her child up, brings him over, and reaches over and grasps the stake. Are you all getting in the car at this point, or are you staying until the transaction is completed?
Getting in the car.
I think
Somber will be the last one in the car.
I think as I'm just you can look at Somber, it's like, you know what? It's always the really, really hot ones that are trouble.
I know. I feel like I've done this a million times.
Can't blame you.
All right. She reaches down and grasps the stake. She's lovingly running her fingers down Gil's face, and she removes it. Just as you're getting into the car, it's instant. He lunges at her, his fangs open, and he begins clawing at her desperately. The attack is absolutely ferocious, and she only just manages to respond in kind, fighting him off, holding him back. And we're just going to have a straight roll between the two of them to see if he overpowers her immediately.
Please.
4 successes on his part. Four successes on hers. Tie goes to the active kindred. He's the active
Yeah.
kindred. He pins her to the ground, sinks his teeth into her, and she screams, "Gil, no!" And he begins to feed greedily, sloppily, without any kind of decency. And as your car is driving away, you see him stand up covered in blood. You see him look down at the glass vial, and he calls, "I won't forget, Gideon! I won't forget!" And then he turns to the rest of the Sabbat and he says, "We have work to do." And he looks down at the crumbling remains of his mother and kicks the dust to the side and strides away into the darkness as your car hurtles down the street towards the bridge to get back to Kansas City, Missouri. And I think that is an excellent time for us to take a very short break.
Oh, yeah. Good.
We will see you all in just a few minutes. Thank you again to our sponsors, and make sure to take a quick look in the chat for the links to all of their fantastic stuff, as well as the module that this has all been based on. So we'll see you all in just a moment. All right. Welcome back to the finale of Season 1 of Bleeding Kansas. This is a quick reminder, as always, about our content warning. This is a show that is intended for adults and explores dark and disturbing themes. So, if anything that happened in the first half was too much for you, or that is about to happen in the second half ends up being too much for you, remember that we'll always be here waiting for you if you need to take a step back and take a break. So, we resume with your car barreling down the street. The anticipated screaming horde of Sabbat chasing after you fails to materialize. And in fact, as you look in your rearview mirror, it seems that Gil is purposefully directing all of his new subjects back towards the caves that they originally came from. What his long-term plan and purpose is, you are not entirely sure. But you are not pursued as you make your way through Kansas City, Kansas. When you arrive at the bridge, you can still see that the police and the protesters are continuing their standoff. You don't know how things were resolved last night, but this evening people are back out protesting. You can also see members of what look like irregular militias walking around with guns, screaming about how it's time to take things into their own hands and that they can't allow another massacre to occur. And this is what happens when you let those bleeding heart liberals into the government and they start directing people not to go after the real bad guys. That's the tone that you make your way into. Needless to say, it's extremely tense. Your drivers are professionals. Watson made sure to send the best. And though it takes longer than you would probably like, you make your way onto the bridge without being stopped. When you get to the other end, however, there's a police barricade. And when the drivers attempt to lean out and move forward, several guns are drawn. And you can see the lead officer making their way forward, and you notice the barest hint of mandibles inside of their mouth that they're doing their best to conceal. And he says, "You will report to the sheriff's private residence to be debriefed, or you will not return to Kansas City."
Yes, of course, certainly.
He looks at his fellows, he gets back into his car, and they get ready to give you a police escort. You're all free to talk and discuss as you make your way through the streets of Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, I had not intended to actually go with them.
Oh, never mind then.
If they're giving us an escort, I don't know that we have a choice. But
well, I mean, you may use whatever methods you like to try to avoid going with them. What they are expecting is that they're opening it up and they're getting ready to drive to escort you straight to the private residence. If you wish to go in a different direction, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, we're going straight there then.
We do not want to go to the sheriff's residence.
I got the hint. The cops were the first signal of that. That was fucked up back there, but it was impressive. I liked it.
I'm a man of few talents, but I use them effectively. Is there a... I don't know that I could mesmerize this dude in front of a bunch of other police and whatnot.
They know that they're dealing with that.
Let them start taking us. I know how to get out of this, Luther. Don't worry about it.
Let's not make a scene yet. We'll follow them for now. What is your plan, Somber?
I'll show you. I call it the old tuck and roll. Come on, Luther. Haven't you ever jumped out of a moving vehicle? It's fun.
No,
See, now it doesn't kill you when you jump out of it.
Gideon, have you said anything since you've been brought into the car? All right.
Nope.
Gideon is still silent and evidently shell-shocked.
I'm not sure Gideon is up for a tuck and roll. However, Somber, if you believe you could pull it off, it might be worth it for you to go for help.
Oh. And can I trust that you'll all be safe while I'm busy getting help?
Doubtful.
Who is the help?
Gideon, have you cashed in your boon yet for your friends?
Above game. I don't think I have. I used the half boon, right? Like the minor, and have a major
You,
left.
you did indeed, yes, you used the minor boon. You have a major boon remaining from the Nosferatu.
This may be a good opportunity if they could perhaps deal with our escort.
Now would be the time, wouldn't it? Gideon, darling. How are you feeling?
Absolutely. Yes. I feel like hell, but I also feel like bringing hell.
It's a spirit.
Good. Good.
Vera looks over at you and she says, I have to make sure that you all get there in one piece. If you're going to be leaving the sheriff's custody, I'm going with you.
Oh. Didn't know you wanted to come with me. You want to tuck and roll?
It's not a matter of wanting, it's a matter of responsibility.
Do you always like the honorable, responsible types?
He says, I'm ready when you are then.
All right, give me a minute. Gideon. I don't do this for just
Yes,
anyone.
Somber.
You understand?
I understand. You're wasting time.
Not quite enough. And Somber kind of pops their shirt collar open a little bit and inclines their neck toward Gideon. Come on.
Would you like to take a gamble?
You know I do. It's my favorite part of our dumb little boat.
Well, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10.
You know my favorite number is 9.
And she presses this really wry smile before going into Somber's neck.
All right. Now there's werewolf blood in
Yeah.
Somber's veins. And there's also
Happy to
somber blood in Somber's veins. And
Funny how
you,
that works.
Godspeed, all I'm saying.
the ecstasy that you both feel in this moment is almost indescribable. To feed off of a mortal, it's sustenance, it tastes good, but it's just sustenance. To feed off of another kindred, now that can approach a form of enlightenment if it's done in the right way. To feed off of the blood of a kindred that you care about, there is no closer bond. There is no more electric feeling of connection. And it is that feeling supplemented by the werewolf blood that courses first into your mouth and through your veins. It's like they're able to touch you inside of your own mind and share how they feel on a more basic level than would ever be possible with only words. It feels like you're eating emotion. How much are you going to take?
Just one.
All right, Somber, you get hungrier. Your hunger increases by 1 as Gideon's decreases by 1.
Somber, I think, pulls away wipes a little bit of their own blood off of Gideon's lower lip. I'm just going full homo right now. And then breaks the window with their elbow, goes, "Don't die," and rolls out backward.
All right. Vera follows along with you. Go ahead and give me a dexterity plus athletics roll.
Why did I think that I wouldn't need to roll to live? I was just ready. Vibes alone.
Wow, Vera just crit twice, so she's doing great.
Like, this is not the
I
first.
got 4 successes also. Me
Nice.
and Vera
Hell
are
yeah.
on it.
Oh no, she didn't just crit twice. She also got 3 more successes in addition to that.
Oh my
She got
god.
7 successes.
Like she gets on, like she
I
at the
can't
end of the
believe
roll.
She was hotter than me.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
like at the end of the roll, she like lands on her feet.
She just like steps out and starts moving at the same speed.
Yeah. Oh.
In fact, Luther, I would actually say you would definitely notice as Vera goes into this, you've hired enough ex-military to recognize it when you see it. You'd be willing to put money on Vera being trained for deployment, maybe in Afghanistan. That timeline would probably line up with what you can remember. And certainly in terms of how old she seems to be and how modern she seems to be. She executes this role perfectly, and not only that, she grabs hold of you, Somber, and guides your roll so that you perfectly make your way into some bushes by the side of the road.
Come
And
on,
while
you're
that-
cramping my style.
She says, just get up and let's go.
Fine.
Now, the police obviously notice this.
Mm-hmm.
And as Somber and Vera are charging off into the night, you see one of the cruisers stop and start to turn around, and the cruiser directly behind you stops as well. And several guns are immediately pointed at your car. You then hear a loud and 2 cement mixers come out of nowhere, one in front and one behind, and smash through the police cars that have just been parked. The window lowers, and Crawley, the Ventru Primogen, is inside one of the cement mixers. And he says, "Vagoni, get in or you die. And bring your evidence with you."
All right.
Can't say no to someone who smashed 2 cop cars, can we?
Are you going to accept his invitation, or are you going to make a run for it?
No, I'm.
Let's do it.
I don't run.
All right. He throws it open, and the 4 of you, with Key in tow, drive off into the darkness. Of course, Somber, you have no idea what's just transpired. With Crawley bringing you away. So, meanwhile, Somber, where is it your intention to go try and meet up with the Nosferatu?
I'm going to send Vera to go meet up with the Nosferatu. I'm going to go find Isabel.
She says, "I am supposed to be looking after you, and now you want to go send me off on your errands?"
You are supposed to be looking after all of us. It's a 2-part plan. That's why there are 2 of us.
Go ahead and give me a charisma plus persuade roll.
Uh, 3 successes?
Fine. Give me the marker. She extends her hand for the tusk that was the marker of Gideon's major boon.
That's
What
right.
am I asking them for again?
I don't know, to go fuck up the sheriff's house.
She grabs it. She gives you a hard-to-read look and then charges off into the darkness. So, you're going to meet up with Issa.
Yes, I am.
All right. So you're you eventually are able to make your way to the place where she told you she could be met. The Castillo Mendoza, as it's called. It's a villa in the northern part of Kansas City, Missouri, although not so far north that it's considered Kansas City North. A lonely villa built in a Spanish style, at the end of a dead-end road. As you make your way up and knock on the door, she opens it. She gives you a quick smile, and she says, "I'd heard that you'd made your way back into the city, and I'd heard that you brought something with you."
Of course I did. I told you I wouldn't fail you.
Where is it?
Oh, well, it's currently being carted off to the sheriff's house, so if you actually have any hope of seeing it, you probably help me out now, I think.
She says, "I asked you to bring back evidence to present to the court, not to hand over to the sheriff."
And I asked you to make my life a little bit easier, just now.
Get in before somebody sees you.
Everyone
She
sees
slams
me.
the door closed. "All right, what's this about?" And she guides you back down to through a door to her laboratory, where you can see the man that she had hanging up there before is no longer there. However, the wall is still badly bloodstained.
You know, it is interesting that you didn't tell us about your connection with the Sabbat in the first place. They knew you by name. He and Gil. Didn't you know that I sleep with Jessica?
I'm going to admit, that's new information. She says, "I asked you to go and report back what you saw, not interact with them directly."
You asked for irrefutable evidence. I'm bringing you an entire werewolf. It's better than what you could have asked for.
It is not what I asked for, and you're complicating things, as I think you can imagine. She says, "I have to check in on the police radio." She makes her way down. She puts on some headphones and turns it on for a few seconds. Then she picks it up and smashes it against the wall.
Somber doesn't flinch, I think. They just kind of watch curiously. Oh, the bastard that owns our boat. What's he up to?
She turns to you. She seems to be sizing you up, determining if she could successfully take you down and get out of here. And she must decide not, because she crosses her arms across her chest. She says, "All right, Somber. No more flirting, no more beating around the bush. You and I are going to make a deal."
I always have to flirt when I make deals. It's pretty much my thing.
Seem to have most of the information. Yes, I invited the Sabbat here. It's not because I am a follower of the Church of Cain. It's because we've got a very old, very archaic, very oppressive sheriff in place, and he needs to be removed. But the followers of law and order and all that bullshit are always going to lap it up as long as the powers that be keeping them just above water. And as long as the people who are getting the neck stepped on aren't them. But there's one thing that always discredits a sheriff, and that's a Sabbat incursion. So yes, I invited them, me and Crawley and Alexios, to help make the city better. It'll have to bleed for a while, but it'll be better when it's finished. It'll heal stronger than it was. but I can't have your evidence blabbing about who invited him and his cronies to Kansas City.
Ah. See, you should have specified earlier. Because if you wanted, I could have just killed the sheriff for you. Darling, please. You bore me with all of this.
You've got a very high opinion of yourself.
Well earned, one could say.
Von Reissel is ancient, all right? He was embraced long before any of us were ever thought of. And yeah, you're older than you look. I can taste it in your blood. I don't know how old, but I wouldn't go up against Von Reissel if I were you. It's going to take an entire city to bring him down.
Good thing we have an entire city right here at our disposal. Besides, I am tired of people telling me what I can and cannot do, especially that piece of shit sheriff. You know who deserves to be on the throne of this city? Not your prince, not your sheriff. Gideon. Gideon Greer.
Well, that werewolf blood is certainly doing its job. And she raises an eyebrow and she says, Luther Vagoni's thin blood valet?
The prince's protege, do you mean? Their childer?
Now, remind me, do you actually know that song?
I actually have no idea. Do I?
I don't think you do. So you're making
Very well.
this up on the spot and just hoping it sticks. You know, that's pretty beautiful. And she says, you know you're going to have to back that up, honey.
I don't know. Sometimes you just say something to make somebody mad enough, and they die of shock.
Crosses her arms. The deal that I made to keep my own head and to become Primogen, I cut that deal with Rutledge. I'm not looking to unseat him at the moment.
We'll get to that later then. The sheriff first.
She says, if we can expose the Sabbat incursion and avoid the fact that I'm the one who brought them here in the first place, and what damage have they really done since they've gotten here? Yes, a few people have had to die. Yes, a few people got dumped in the river. But at the end of the day, it wasn't anybody that really mattered.
Interesting you say that, because I remember my coterie being caught in the direct crossfire. And to me, those are people who matter. Not any of those mortals, I couldn't give a fuck about them. But those three kindred I would die and kill for, faster than you could draw any stake to put through my heart.
Her hand starts to drift over towards some of the bubbling vials on the table, and she says,
No. Careful. It wasn't a threat, it was a promise.
She says, I didn't want your coterie to be hurt. I just wanted you to go there and look. You did a hell of a lot more than look.
What can I say? We're active.
She says, you've got, your coterie has the evidence. I can tell you now that Crawley has your coterie. He didn't consult with me, but the police convoy was attacked. And there's nobody else who would have any motivation that I know of except Alexios to keep the evidence from getting from the sheriff. And Alexios is accounted for.
Are you telling me that they're in more danger or less?
You know Crawley. He's not going to have any kind of sentiment for Luther just because he's a member of his clan. And if Crawley can wipe his hands of this entire business and get rid of me and the sheriff, I think he'd be open to it.
I see where this deal is going. Good thing I think Crawley is a piece of shit. And I have been waiting to sink my fangs into something all day, and if I have to wait much longer, I swear it's going to be you.
She says, get rid of Crawley? Get your coterie out of his custody. Get rid of the evidence that you brought back. And testify that Crawley was the one who did this. And that the sheriff still allowed a Sabbat incursion to happen under his nose. And voila. Everybody wins.
I do like you. It would be a shame to kill you. Very well. I'm gonna need some help, though. Where's Crawley going?
I expect he's at his home. The place is Fort Knox. Even if the sheriff decided he wanted to get rid of him, he'd probably have to come at him for himself. Get that evidence. Erase any connection that I have to it and Alexios. And I think we can be useful to each other going forward.
Then we're wasting precious time.
Meanwhile, at that very same house that was mentioned, Crawley has brought the other three of you in, along with the captured key. He's pacing through a large and very ornate sitting room. There's a bunch of Ventru thugs standing around the various doors, a fire crackling in the grate. And he says, I have to say, Vagoni, I could not have anticipated just how much you would upset things with your trip to Kansas City, Kansas.
I simply follow my instincts.
Your instincts have produced a rather unsavory result, and he points at Key. That thing's continued existence is a threat to Ventru supremacy.
Ooh. Why?
He says, it is in possession of information that would weaken the prince's current hold. And mine.
Oh.
So you will be turning him over to my custody.
Oh, you want your... That's right, you got chased out. That's right.
Excuse me?
Word was.
He says, I was in communication with Miss Rojas, the one who sent you on your little expedition. You were never supposed to return with someone who could give testimony to why the Sabbat are here. I expect he's explained the situation to you already. I thought as much.
So, can't be an anarch. So you're gonna suck up to the court here. Is that what I'm saying? Or I'm hearing. Couldn't hash it.
Crawley says, as he leans forward, I am the primogen of the Ventru here in this city. I have risen farther than you will ever rise, and I intend to preserve that position. Now, it occurs to me that the knowledge that you have acquired can be put to good use. I have no desire to see Representative Alexios and Primogen and Seneschal Rojas continuing to warp the prince's perceptions and have his ear. I also want to ensure that the sheriff is toppled once news of the Sabbat incursion is provided to the court. So, if you will testify both that Miss Rojas and Representative Alexios were the ones who invited the Sabbat here, and you will affirm the presence of the Sabbat so as to destabilize the sheriff's hold over the city, then, Vigoni, I will ensure that you inherit my position when the prince elevates me to seneschal in the place of Miss Rojas.
It's quite the position, Luther.
Indeed it is. That is quite an interesting proposal. And the fate of the boss Callahan.
I'd be more than happy to sign it over to you permanently. We'll also be needing a new sheriff. Perhaps you'd be interested in the role, Miss M. You've more than demonstrated how adept you are at putting people in the ground when they need to be. And, Gideon, I would advise the prince, as seneschal, to have you welcomed back into the court and given a blood strain that is more befitting of your stature, with the understanding, of course, that you could never reveal your true parentage.
I need a suit if we're going to court.
I can provide one.
Thank you.
And looks over at Luther and M.
I don't see a downside to this. I come out with a higher position within the court. We remove some troublesome kindred. All in all, I feel like this is a good opportunity.
Yeah. You know what? Something in me really, really feels the pull of being sheriff here.
He says, charming. Well, kind of raises up a finger to listen in on something in his ear. And he says, you will excuse me for a moment. And he stalks out of the room. And it's at this point that it's the first time you've been aware of gunshots and the sound of tearing flesh. And as the sound of confusion increases outside, the window opens and a blood-stained Somber pokes their head into the window.
Hello, darlings. Did you miss me?
Yes.
Where's
Oh.
Vera? Oh, I think they might be ransacking the wrong house. Oops. Don't worry, I came to get you. Shall we fuck off out of here now?
Gideon, grab a suit. I think it's time we made our exit.
Gladly.
All right. So, as you charge out, they are going to try and stop you. Are you trying to fight your way out or sneak your way out?
Oh.
Well, I just took my fifth pip in Brawl, so I'll fight my way out.
I will also fight my way out.
We trying to snake, please.
Yes, I will use the distraction of the two brawlers to just saunter out.
Okay. In that case, I'll need stealth checks from Luther and Gideon.
So I'm stealth dexterity.
Yes, stealth dexterity. Yes, sorry, I should have.
What is the situation that we're coming out on? Like, what's the...
Guards are, I mean, Somber's the only one who is attacking. So guards are rushing in every direction, trying to figure out what's going on, yelling into communicators, firing at every shadow. The Crawley estate is in complete chaos.
Stealth isn't exactly what I would particularly try to use, but I'm not gonna fight, but I'm just gonna walk. And anybody that tries to intercept me, I'm gonna try and use the Ventru kindred, like they're Ventru, we're Ventru. Hey, I'm a Ventru, I'm supposed to be here, kind of thing. More deception than stealth.
Charisma, actually, yes, charisma, because it's pure force of will, plus your deception check in that case. Gideon, how many successes did you get on your stealth check?
2.
2. All right. What did you get on your roll, Luther?
What would I use for deception? There's not a...
Is there
A subterfuge.
Oh,
yes.
subterfuge. Okay.
My apologies.
Ooh, 3.
All right. Luther, you're able to lie your way through. However, Gideon, as they're trying to sneak through, gets spotted as they're making their way through a rose bush right next to where you're walking. And the guard stops you and points a gun right at your chest and says, "Are they with you?"
Yes, of course. Do you not know who I am? Gideon is my trusted advisor and valet.
I'm going to need another deception check. Or I should say subterfuge plus charisma.
Could I try and use a power instead?
Yes, if you wanted to. What are you trying to use here?
Just cloud memory.
Cloud memory. I see. All right, well, he's going to try to resist, so go ahead and roll against that.
Ooh. That's only 2 successes.
Nice try, Vagoni. We've heard about them, and we know they're not supposed to leave here alive. And he's going to pick up his gun and start firing at you. I'm going to need dexterity athletics checks from you if you don't want to get hit by this gun. Let these gunshots.
Can I
boy.
beat the crap out of this guy? Possibly.
I believe you were going in different directions. Because it wouldn't really make sense if Luther was walking behind you, tearing people to shreds.
We don't know. We're not with them.
Happening. 1 success.
One
Gideon.
roll.
1 success.
All right. Crawley only hires the best. They're pretty good with guns.
Okay.
All right. That is going to be 4 points of standard damage to both of you. So you do have it, Luther.
I'm down again.
Really?
What?
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to re-increase my health. I was only
Good.
at 2.
Okay. Everyone here dies
actually-
then. That's fine.
That's unfair. I should have given you the opportunity to heal at the beginning of the evening.
Sorry, I completely forgot.
So that's fine. If you wish to heal a point of aggravated damage, that is going to require 3 rouse checks.
Gonna do that.
All right.
Two success, 1 failure.
2 success. All right. So you get hungrier. You can raise it up. The beast has been in your ear all night, and right now he wants you to tear this boy apart for having the audacity to shoot at you. What method? Now that the security has been alerted to your presence and is closing in to try and execute both of you before you can get off the property. By the way, are you bringing Key with you?
Oh, yes, we need that.
Who has him though?
Yeah, who's pulling the chain?
I guess it has to be us because
The strong people are gone.
Yeah, they're fighting.
Yeah.
So actually, Key knows an opening when he sees one.
Oh, there we go. Oh no.
And you feel him trying to rip Gideon. You feel him trying to rip the chain out of your hand. So I'm going to need an athletic strength check for you to hold on to it. He's tied too tightly to get out of the chains by changing form, but he can still run for it and try and get the chains off later. And even in his normal form, he's pretty strong.
0 successes.
4 successes. Chain is ripped from your hands, and he starts barreling down the streets of Kansas City in chains. What's your exit strategy, Luther and Gideon?
Gideon's still gonna try to book it, like in that case, maybe like running in the path that Key had made, barreling out as an opening.
All right, that's going to be raw dexterity athletics to avoid the barrage of fire that's coming from the house now.
Oh, good golly, Miss Molly. 2 successes.
2 successes. All right, you make it out, charging down the street beyond their range, but you get hit one more time. 2 more points of superficial damage.
All right.
Yeah.
Luther.
Luther's squishy little body is not equipped for this. So I'm gonna try one more desperate attempt. I mean, this dude is sitting here shooting at us, and I've already failed a test, so he's on guard.
There are also other guards that are rushing up and taking pot shots at you from further back in the courtyard. They aren't nearly as accurate given their distance, but they're still going to be trying to take you down.
Yeah. Boy, I'm gonna die. But I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try and. Well, I've got to have relative quiet to do mesmerize. That won't work.
Run, Luther, run!
Run, buddy, run.
I think I would like to activate awe and yell at this guy. You fool. That was Crowley's evidence. You're letting him get away.
All right. The force of your personality crashes into him, and go ahead and give me another charisma. We'll make this charisma plus persuasion roll.
Could I make a play for manipulation and persuasion?
Gonna say no.
Okay.
Because you are not really tricking him. You're just trying to use the force of your personality at this point.
Perfect.
And you're correct. He is indeed on guard.
Oh, floor dice. Holy shit. Okay. That's 5 successes with 2 criticals.
So
one of
double
those
tens.
is on a hunger die, and I have a critical fail on a hunger die.
That's all right. As long as you have some successes, you don't have
Okay.
to worry about a bestial failure. However, that is still a
Messy crit.
messy critical. So you
Do I roll? I roll dice again, right?
you don't have to roll dice again in this situation.
Okay. Oh yeah, it does. So it's total of 7 successes.
Yes. So you succeed. This young man completely believes you and turns around and rushes away. However,
But
again, an A messy critical means you are going to be suffering from a compulsion. And as a Ventru, you have -2 to all dice pools not involving leadership until you convince someone to obey an order without any supernatural assistance. And the beast is saying in your mind again, how many times am I going to save your life tonight? Just tonight. You have any idea how quickly you would have been destroyed without me? You're nothing without the power that I give you. And unless you can prove to me that you're not, I don't see any reason to leave you in the driver's seat. Are you making a run for it, Luther?
Yes, I'm going
All right,
to
you
stumble
run
off.
after Gideon. Meanwhile, the two of you are trying to fight your way through Crowley's guards to get out of his villa. That's going to be...
Ooh.
Oh, what's up, Em?
Before we go, hand on Somber's shoulder. How would you like to be the hunter here?
Don't tempt me with a good time.
I'm hoping that it is tempting enough. Got a little mouse that's running. Let's go get him if you're up to it. If you feel like rolling, going for that hard shot at the good roll.
You can see Key rushing away, still in chains, down a street. So, how do you wish to proceed?
We're not talking about Keys, we're talking about Crowley.
Oh, talking about Crowley. Gotcha. Interesting. Ooh. Okay, well.
You read my mind, Em. Don't tell me you've been picking up Luther's Ventru habits.
Quite the opposite, actually. I'm glad we're on the same wavelength.
All right, you're really charging into the belly of the beast here.
Yeah.
So both of you are going to go after Crawley.
Yep.
All right, go ahead and give me strength plus brawl checks to fight your way through his legions of guards.
Do I get my
This is
+1
gonna be
against Kindred?
Yeah.
They are ghouls, so unfortunately.
Damn. Oh well.
All right, I've got a lot of dice in my hand because you're basically trying to 2v20 an army.
God. Yeah, we're gonna go. Let's see. I also got a lot of hunger to go.
Number to beat is... Just a moment.
I rolled
42.
6 successes.
Ooh, so did the guards.
All right,
How
that
many
is.
did you get, Em?
So it's four successes and a pair of crits.
So 6 successes. Are either of those crits on a hunger die? Either the 10s you rolled or the...
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
So, the two of you are death incarnate. As you make your way through, dodging bullets, smashing...
Uh-oh.
You lost your sound.
Now it's back.
There you go.
Walk through, dodging bullets, smashing people's heads against pillars, tearing them to pieces, all to make it to Crowley. However, your beast will not allow you to stop at that, Em. You're going to suffer from the compulsion of your clan, of the Bruja.
Okay.
Your fixation is to go against the status quo. You have -2 dice to all rolls except compulsion. Much the same way that Luther does, but in a different way. You're going to have to change someone's mind or do something entirely unexpected before your beast will release your powers back to you. And it's at this point that you reach Crawley, who whirls around in his immaculate suit and says, "You do not know who you are messing with, my friends."
Farah, how about this one?
Oh, gimme, gimme, gimme. All right. Fight with Crawley begins. Luther and Gideon, y'all are just going to have to sit back for a bit here. So, Em, what is your intention in this moment?
Activate my oh shit. Why did it freeze up? It froze up. Activate prowess, and then just neutralize him as best I could with teeth and fists.
All right, so you're charging in. That's going to be strength plus brawl, of course. Remember, you have -2 dice until you give in to your compulsion. Meanwhile, Somber, what is your intention?
Somber, as Farah Snow replies in their head, curls their hand up, and as each finger goes into their palm, they activate their feral weapons. So I will give you a rouse check. I will not get hungrier, delightfully.
All right.
And I will have a +2 modifier to my brawl damage and cause aggravated health to mortals. As well as...
Excellent. All right.
I will not have the damage of my feral weapons either.
All right. As you charge forward, both charge forward towards Crawley, he is going to attempt to mesmerize Somber. So, Somber, I'm going to need your intelligence plus resolve versus his manipulation plus dominate.
Yeesh.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, I rolled pretty well for 4 dice. 3 successes?
3 successes. He got 4 successes.
I don't think this works necessarily, but I have the unbondable merit.
That does not have an effect, unfortunately. So, mesmerism goes off successfully. As your eyes meet his, all of that anger and frustration and determination that the werewolf blood is pumping through your body seems to deaden just a little bit. And as he maintains his gaze into your eyes, he points at M and he says, "You will execute her for me. And you will do so with extreme prejudice." And so your attack turns mid-strike onto M. So M, the two of you are now tearing into each other. Are you going to fight back against Somber, or are you going to just try to avoid their strikes?
Going to avoid.
All right. In that case, I need your strength and dexterity versus Somber's strength plus brawl. I'm sorry, athletics and dexterity versus Somber's strength and brawl. And remember, you have -2 dice because of your because you have to fulfill your compulsion.
Okay. Okay. Crap.
3 successes.
All right. I'm going to try and push through that. Reroll 2 of the dice.
Yep, burn a willpower.
Yep. Okay, 4.
4. All right, you dodge out of the way of Somber's attack, and you continue your charge at Crawley. Go ahead and give me your strength plus brawl for your attack on him, as your ghostly brass knuckles settle along your fists.
Okay.
He's going to try and get out of the way. 5. That beats his 4. You smash your fists into him and knock him backward, dealing extra damage because of the things that you have on your fists.
Does
Um,
prowess add anything to that as well?
Leave with prowess. The effect is.
Shit. Where's potent sets? Why are they so close to each other?
Let's see. Here we are.
All right.
Prowess.
When activated, rating the potence rating of the user to their unarmed damage value, as well as the feats of
Okay.
strength.
So even more supplemental damage.
That's 3.
You knock him down on his ass, and he is bleeding out of his chest. We're back. We resume. So, Somber, you are still under the effect of his mesmerism. You still desperately want to destroy M. M, what is your intention?
You know what? I am going to pin Carly to the ground where I have him. It's like,
All right, you're gonna try and rest.
well, no, I'm
Rest-
just gonna look at him, just like blood on my face, fangs bared. Stop that, or this will be final. I will suck the fucking soul out of you.
All right. So as Somber charges towards you, go ahead and give me an intimidation plus strength check. And since this is technically trying to convince him to change his mind, you will not have -2 on this roll.
All right. Okay.
Charisma.
Intimidation and what was it?
Charisma and intimidation. Or actually, we'll make it strength and intimidation.
Okay, strength and intimidation. Okay.
Four. All right, he had 2. Stop! 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 I said stop! I said stop! He screams at Somber.
There we go.
You are released from the command.
I really don't like that. Oh,
I'm gonna still attack him. Fuck this guy.
Oh, yeah.
You're still going to attack him?
I said I wouldn't
Alright.
suck it, so I didn't say I wouldn't beat him to an absolute pulp now.
All right, you can go ahead and make your strength plus brawl check as he'll struggle to try and get out from underneath you.
You don't do that. That's. All right, so 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna use a willpower to go through this. I'm getting very
Alright.
close. This is not great. But 2, 6 successes.
All right, he got 4 successes, but it's not enough to force you off of him as you start pummeling him into submission. And I believe with the amount of damage you've done to him, you successfully knock him into torpor. Because you don't have your superficial damage. It's like, stop! I said stop!
And for good measure, I will slam him against the wall, throw him out, and just spit on him.
All right. And you can hear the sound of more guards approaching.
Somber, all right then, picks him up, hoofs him over. I almost just punched my cup of water. Huffs him over their shoulder, rolls their neck, and looks for the nearest window.
You're on a veranda, so you can just jump over the side.
Let's do it. Let's get out.
Off we go.
All right, off you go. Gideon, you're trying to catch up to Key before he can make good his escape. That's going to be, we'll say that's going to be dexterity plus athletics.
Actually, I was just using Key's barreling to get out. Gideon is going straight to Elysium.
Okay. You're heading to make a report to the prince. So Key is going to get away unless Luther wants to chase him.
Where are my snipers right now?
They were not permitted to accompany you to Crawley's place.
Sniper, no sniping.
But they're in the area.
They could be called in. You can always call a car.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna see if we can't intercept this jerk before he gets back to the other side of the city. He is in chains.
He is in chains. All right, this is basically going to be his stealth versus your leadership. How well you coordinate this. So give me charisma plus leadership.
Wonderful. Four.
4. All right. You are just able to track him down. Moments before he throws himself into the Missouri River, your guards rush out, grab him, and pull him back into the car. Are you also heading to Elysium?
I am.
All right. Meanwhile, M and Somber, the two of you have got the torpid body of Crawley between the two of you. Where are the two of you heading?
This is a good point where we probably it's like we have like this just like torpid out like where it's like what the fuck do we do? Where are we going?
I wanna take Crawley to Isabel's lab, like drop him off before heading to Elysium.
Wait, what are we doing?
I need this later, don't worry about it.
No. What are we doing with this?
I need it.
And no secrets. Come on.
There is a noisy little creature in my brain that I picked up back in Lawrence, and it wants a body. So I found this one.
Do we know what it will do to Crawley's soul?
Oh, absolutely destroy it and disintegrate it into thousands of little fucked up pieces, I hope.
Oh, that's good. What benefit do we get from doing this? No idea.
It's a personal pet project. For me.
Favor? Hands up.
Fine.
All
They
right.
shake.
When you arrive at the Castillo Mendoza, you find Issa very impatiently waiting, and when you arrive with the torpid body of Crawley, her eyes go wide, and she says, "Well, you did take care of business."
I told you, you really shouldn't underestimate me. This is my friend M.
Charmed.
Greetings.
Seneschal Rojas.
Hmm.
And she looks down. She raises an eyebrow. She says, "Is this a two birds and one stone situation?"
I'm hoping so. Remember that little project I told you about?
Well, fortunately for you, I live on a river. We can complete the ritual now if you wish.
Luther and Gideon can take care of things for a while. M, do you mind?
Mind staying or mind leaving?
To you, really.
Well, I should remember. Well, I should be here and make sure nothing untoward happens. I mean, I'm uncomfortable with these sort of things, but you know what you're doing. I would like to see what this looks like.
Me too.
All right. So, as you make your way into the water, do you remember the necessary ritual?
Yes, I do. I have it written down in my notes. I must stake them with a hangsman tree branch, wrap the head in, didn't finish that note, wrap the head in something. I think Somber also forgets what they're supposed to wrap the head in. Place it in a river flowing east or west, and then bite the stake.
All right. Issa completes the incomplete note and pulls out a Chiefs jersey. And she says, "The livery of a respected lord." Given that the Chiefs have been Super Bowl contenders for the past few years, I think this will count. She gets down and wraps the head up in it.
Rather disgusting little shirt for a disgusting little man, don't you think?
Very fitting.
Didn't think that would work, but that's an interesting pull at the requirement.
Makes me feel like somebody has a sense of humor.
Modern problems require modern solutions. Modern spells adjust their ingredients. Beyonce merch also would have worked, but, you know, whatever you have on hand. And she pushes him into the water, and she says, "Please," and starts reciting Latin over the body.
And Somber takes a long look for a second, and they kind of go into their mind. Now, once I give this to you, you're not going to be a total asshole about it, are you?
You're putting me in a torpid body. I would hardly benefit from pissing off the person who's going to have to wake me up.
Correct. So tell me what you know, and I'll bite the steak. And then I'll let you wake up.
That's not the way it works.
How to give it a try.
You'll have the
They bite
information
it.
once I'm gone, dearie. You sink your teeth into it, and you feel her consciousness move out of you and down the stake. And that memory suddenly comes back into your mind. When you were escaping that prison, the woman who fought her way through the entire military encampment to find you. And as you look up, you see that blank space where the face was slowly reconfigure. And you see the face of the woman who you must once have loved. It's the face of Vera Edwards.
Excuse me? Somber, I think, nearly chokes on the stake because their head flies forward. And then they shove themselves out of the water. Where the fuck? Where the fuck is Vera? And where the fuck did Vera go? M?
The fuck is that?
Where is Vera?
He kind of raises an eyebrow and says, "The sheriff's hound?"
Yes, the sheriff's hound. Where is the sheriff's hound? Did she come back here?
No, I haven't seen her.
Wait, what?
We need to go to Elysium right now. Right
What the hell's
now.
going on? What
M?
the?
Trust me, please. For once in my...
On the way, you tell. Well, let's go.
It's hard to explain. And they take off.
All right, as you start rushing towards Elysium, as you're making your way through one of the many alleyways, you hear the sound of a rifle being loaded, safety being turned off, and you hear the voice of Vera behind you speaking from a fire escape. "All right, Amberly, I've had enough of this. Get down on the ground, or I'm going to riddle you and your friend full of dragon fire ammo."
Is your name short for Amberly?
No.
And Somber turns around very slowly and looks up at Vera with a new, freaked out and deeply curious, violent expression on their face. Now that is interesting, isn't it? Did you steal that body, or are you really the person I remember from way back
I'm not
when?
interested in your mind games, Amberly. Just get down on the ground and tell me where Somber is.
Oh, very interesting. Very, 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 very interesting. And Somber starts to get down on one knee. Here's the problem, love. I am Somber. Who are you?
She says, I have been trying to figure out what the hell is going on ever since you got to Kansas City. This is where we were supposed to meet, but they never showed. And now I know what happened. You found them, you did something to them, and you made yourself up to look like them. Obviously. Would have been pretty easy, I imagine. They never stopped going on about their twin sister. And here's what I know.
Oh, you! Oh no! No! You cut out! No! You cut out! No! No!
You're muted. We can't hear you.
Cut out right at the twin sister part.
Somber would never do anything like the bullshit you have been doing over the past few days. Somber was measured. Somber knew what the fuck they were doing, and Somber cared about me. So, you can keep going with this whole amnesia thing as long as you like, Amberly. But I'm not fucking buying it. So you tell me where they
Somber,
are.
what the hell? You and Vera? What the?
Somber, for the first time, does not have a witty reply, a flirt, a gesture that they can cover up what it is that they're really thinking. I think their face is completely shut down, and they are plunging into their own psyche to try to pull these dissonant threads into being. Who the fuck is Amberly? Are they Amberly? Are they Somber?
Vera says, M, on the ground. I'm not taking any fucking chances here, all right?
How about you put the gun down and we'll discuss this, because I don't know what the fuck is going on either.
How about you step away from the Camarilla Archon and I get my answers?
Oh, the what?
I said move.
I said hold it.
This is Dragonfire ammo. I'm not afraid to use it. We raided plenty out of that second Inquisition base.
I am fucking tired of being yanked around. Either you shut up, put that away, we'll find out what this is. Because if Somber is what you think they are, then I will kill them myself. So put the goddamn gun down.
All right. Go ahead and give me a persuasion plus charisma check.
Okay. Where's my persuasion? Oh, there it is. Three.
All right. Tie goes to the active kindred. She moves her gun away from you and points it at Somber. And she says, make sure that Amberly doesn't move. And she starts to make her way down from the fire escape, keeping the gun trained on Somber. And she says, Somber told me about them and their sister. They told me about their embrace. They told me about their rivalry. They told me about how their sister joined the Camarilla. And they also told me about how their sister was one of the more powerful kindred in the Camarilla, and that she would come after me. And that she would probably try to impersonate them, just to sell it. You think I would have put up with all the shit that you four asked me to do over the course of this past week if I wasn't investigating a little theory of my own? I had to be sure if it was Somber. I almost believed the whole amnesia thing, but if there's anything left of Somber in there, they never would have treated me this way. They never would have been that dismissive. They never, ever would have let me get into harm's way. So I'm pretty fucking sure this is Amberly, and I'm pretty fucking sure she's here to kill you.
No, that fucking asshole Ferris Snow was in my brain, okay? She's in my brain. Since Lawrence, I didn't know who you were until fucking 5 minutes ago. Vera?
Oh, isn't that convenient? You didn't know who I was until I had a gun pointed at your head. How stupid do you think I am, Amberly?
Don't call me that. It makes me want to tear your throat out.
Is that true, Amberly? Is that true?
I don't...
There are few things that I hate more than being manipulated and lied to. I've stomached enough of that here.
You were there when I woke up in the boat. I woke up in a boat, Vera, in the middle of a fucking cargo hold with no memory and a lot of hunger and a stake through my chest. I didn't know who you were, and I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I don't... It's not... I'm somber. I'm somber. I am
invoking my favor. You tell the goddamn truth.
I am somber.
Give me a charisma plus persuasion check. Somberly.
Somberly.
No successes.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. Are you buying it, Em? I believe you're on the up and up, but there is no way that this is somber.
I'm not sure. Archon, you said?
Yeah. Their sister, they told me plenty about her. Do you realize they were both embraced in the 14 fucking hundreds? And their sister drank the Camarilla Kool-Aid right down. Became one of their most powerful enforcers. They were the one who kept it real, as you would say. They fought the good fight. They taught me how to do it. And they told me they'd meet me in Missouri. They told me we'd meet in Kansas
what about
City.
the other one?
Somber did. Somber was going to meet me here. But they told me that Amberly, if she ever found out about me, would try and get to me first. So I should be on my guard.
So Amberly wasn't the Archon, then?
Amberly is the Archon. Somber was an Anarch. Somber fought with the Anarchs for centuries. That's what they told me. We met in a Second Inquisition holding cell. I was getting ready to destroy myself, but they got me through it. They convinced me that there is a life possible when your heart isn't beating anymore. And they told me we'd meet in Kansas City and be on guard for Amberly. So you can understand that when the love of my life shows up with amnesia, it just seems a little too fucking convenient.
I remember that.
What?
I remember you breaking me out of the facility. You blew it up. You and a bunch of others stole the uniforms and broke me out. I remember that.
Burned that place to the fucking ground. There was no record of it. She gets a little closer. What were they having you fight? When I saved you, what were you fighting?
Funny enough, another fucked up wolf.
She drops the rifle and she gets down on her hands and knees and she places her hands on the sides of your face. She says, tell me you remember something other than that.
Fuck, what do you want me to do? I woke up dead in a boat. I don't remember who I am. You tell me that my sister is an Archon. What does that even mean? What does it even mean?
Archons are the foot soldiers of the Justicars. They're the Camarillas.
They are the worst.
Well, obviously, they found me. Why else would I be dead?
Please tell me you remember me.
The name they called me, it was Thorn 93.
Place you were embraced in the year. Thorns, 1493. That was Jeru 03, Jerusalem 2003.
And Somber kind of tentatively reaches out and like traces the outline of her face. Your blood will remember me.
She reaches over and she extends her fangs. She gets closer to your neck. Can I?
Somber leans into it.
She bites, she tastes the blood for just a second, and then she staggers backward, and the blood is streaming down her face. You don't remember anything. Somber, you don't remember me.
They fucked it up. They ate it all. I don't know what they my sister. What did she do?
Who is this they? What is this?
I don't. When I woke up, I didn't know anyone or anything. I didn't know. I can't. My sister.
She takes a step back and she says, we escaped the Second Inquisition together. We split up. They said they had some stuff to take care of to make sure that we were safe. I know it's you in there, Somber, now. I wouldn't forget the taste of that blood, but if you don't remember anything about me, if you don't remember anything about what we had, then there's nothing for me here.
Oh. M's going to look at it. You can help us. You can help Somber.
It's not Somber.
It can still be Somber in there. I know what it's like to lose someone. You have a small hint of getting them back.
Have you ever looked at them, looked at their face, and not seen them in there? I was fucking praying that it was Amberly, so that this wouldn't have to be true. But that's not Somber. That's just something using their body like a puppet.
But what if it is, what if a small piece is in there?
She turns around.
Help
I'm
us.
not hoping for it again. And she's gonna walk away.
Please don't me.
She turns around. She says, don't you dare try to use their voice to beg me. You're not them.
Ooh.
And I don't owe you anything.
But what if? Help us take this down. You know how
Take what?
this whole thing, this whole wretched thing. I understand what that fight's like. Help us. Do it for Somber. If it's not them, their memory, help us.
The sheriff will be waiting for me. I'll stay in the city. Why the hell not? I don't have anywhere else to go. I don't owe you anything. She turns around and continues to walk away.
I will take out a number on a piece of paper and give it to them.
And grab it. They look at you, somber, with sorrow and almost contempt, and then turn away.
I know what the fight's like. Don't leave it here.
She walks off into the darkness. She's got the number. You got her word she'll stay in the city, but she hasn't committed to anything more than that. Meanwhile, Luther and Gideon. Assume the two of you are making your way to Elysium. Luther and Gideon, you're already there. The prince is looking extremely agitated, drumming his fingers. The sheriff is looking at him earnestly, giving him what probably are the sheriff's version of soothing words. All the Primogen are assembled here except for Issa and Crawley. And the two of you make your way in. How do you intend to make your entrance?
Are we together?
Ballard.
The prince looks up from where he's sitting. Stands up. He looks at you he holds your eyes for a few seconds, and then he turns and says, Vergoni, what is that doing in my court?
I believe they have something to say.
Do you have Key with you?
I've got him waiting outside with the with my minions.
Those of thin blood are not permitted to speak before their prince, nor are they permitted to use a familiar name.
I'm not doing this anymore.
You will be silent, child.
Child. You know, a week ago I would have been absolutely thrilled to hear that in my direction.
Silence! He's going to say, and he is going to try and compel you. However, of course,
Point of mine is still unswayable. Wow.
his charisma plus dominate, which, as you can imagine, is quite a bit, versus your intelligence plus resolve.
I have. Okay, let me count this. I have 4 crits. So that's 1, 2, 3, 7 successes.
7 successes. All right, Ballard's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. He's going to burn a willpower. Reroll through his failures. 6 successes. You are not bound by his compelling order.
And they start taking off their jacket, vest, the top accoutrements of their suit to show off the sun runes.
What is the meaning of this? The sheriff says.
I thought this city was wounded, but it's infected. diseased, cancerous. And this is on the other side of the river. The Sabbat are here. And I am
The kindred in the room all take a breath that they don't have to take. The word Sabbat is enough to make most of their hair stand on end. They're right.
And that's not all.
You see Issa walk in.
It's yours. Keep.
You see Issa walk in, nodding and pointing at those runes. But she doesn't say anything more than that. She lets you keep talking.
Bacteria, the infection is in this room. And I'm so happy to have you join us. I don't have the power of my sire, but I compel you to confess.
I don't know what they're talking about. Those are Sabbat runes. There's clearly a Sabbat infection, but I don't have anything to do with any of that.
I'm going to reach up and place my hand on Gideon's shoulder. It appears that your sheriff has failed at their job. And I regret to say that my own clan, and yours as well, my prince, were involved.
There's a great deal of chatter, very whispered, but continuing throughout the court.
Pause just a moment for dramatic effect. I will look at Isabella and Alexia. Crowley was attempting to overthrow this princedom and take it for himself. He introduced the Sabbat to undermine the sheriff and your very throne, my lord. I do not know his current fate, but I have proof. And then I'll pull out my phone and send a quick message for the goons to bring in the werewolf.
The werewolf is indeed brought in.
Your sheriff has failed this city.
What he's saying is true. We were invited into this city, and my fellows have conquered half of it in the course of nights. And I will return to them and continue that conquest when the time is right. Somber and M, at this point, the two of you enter into Elysium. And you see Vera take up a position next to the sheriff. Prince looks at you, Gideon, and he says, "What you have all done, unsanctioned, unaligned with my goals, you have undermined this princedom. But the exposure of the Sabbat presence and its compatriots can't be overlooked. There will be a full investigation to confirm the veracity of your words, Mr. Vergoni. Camarilla will not allow something like this to be swept under the rug. The scrutiny that our little city is going to be placed under is going to be substantial." He looks down at Gideon. Seems to be weighing options in his mind. This child is of thin blood and was embraced by one who did not understand what they did and then rejected them. I call upon that someone to admit to this now. He casts an eye across the room, and Issa takes a step forward. Me, my lord. The child is of my blood. That's why they accused me of being involved in this. They resented me for abandoning them, but I take full responsibility for them. Allowed in this court under your supervision, Seneschal.
I will
My
not
prince.
be put under position of a criminal.
Give me a persuasion plus charisma roll, Gideon.
That's a critical failure.
Oh no.
All failures, and I have a 1 on my blood die.
The prince looks at you and he says, "You will take what you are offered, and you will obey my strictures, child. Take a seat and welcome to the court."
And they stare him down as 2 thin lines of blood trickles down their cheeks as they join the court.
Mr. Vagoni, I see the rest of your coterie has joined us. I assume they were the ones who were investigating Crowley?
This is correct. We were all involved, but they performed mighty actions.
And what of his final fate?
Looks at Somber.
Unfortunate.
Very well. I suppose for exposing this rot, I owe you a boon, Vagoni M. Somber, child of the Tremere. What would you ask of me in the sight of this court?
Well, it appears under the unfortunate circumstances that Crowley left us with, there seems to be an open seat as the primogen of the Ventru.
Welcome to the Primogen Council, Primogen Vagoni. May you and your coterie ensure the continued peace of Kansas City. The trials that are approaching will be more than we have seen in centuries, and I will need every kindred in this domain to be on their guard. And with that, with our various kindred finding out the results of their gambles, perhaps not what they hoped for, but you so rarely get what you hope for in the world of darkness, and perhaps something to build on. As they say, if you've got a chip and a chair, you can still play. We conclude our vampire story for now. Thank you all so much for joining us for our first season of Bleeding Kansas on Gehenna Gaming. It's been such an amazing experience, and I can't thank this amazing cast enough for telling an incredible story in this world that I placed them in. We hope that you've enjoyed this, and thanks again to all of our sponsors and to Gehenna Gaming for giving us this platform. Good night.